further as you please. If you don't have questions now, we can just start with how the idea for the workshop originated and then.
Super. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you for staying to the Q&A. I know that the weather is nicer now in Munich, so it's like great that you're staying here with us for a little bit. Bye. And the workshop, Memorias Sinvergüenzas, that is like the name in Spanish, and in English, it would be like Shameless Memories, originated in a master degree that I did in San Sebastián, and Isaac and Luisa were there as well, did the same. I did like the curation part of it. They did like the archive part. And for the final master degree project, during a year, I was involved in thinking about how the queer community can be like in the same frame and in the same space and living the same experiences, but how between the different gap ages, we are not really connected. So because now we go like to the pride parades and we think of a look and go to and put on the makeup and go on march, but we don't really like know who were like the first people who were there like fighting for the rights. So that was like the main idea, how to create a project that could build a bridge between like younger directors and younger artists and like this older community, and how to provide them resources to let their stories be told, because maybe their stories weren't archived in the canon archives. So how to figure it out a way to let those voices be heard. And Isaac and Luisa joined wonderfully, because we created like this team to make the workshop function. And it was like some months of building like alliances with different institutions that were amazing and provided the funding and the space. The funding came from Tabakalera, that is a space in San Sebastián that I think, Mila, you were there to see the exhibition, the screening of the short films. And it's like where our master is located, and also is located the Basque Filmoteque, that it was the one who provided the materials. So it was like a strategic thinking on how to use the resources and how to connect these institutions to make this project possible. I think it could be like a nice way to introduce everyone who is here, if everyone wants like to open the mic and say like their names and how are you involved with the project, if you are like part of the team who made the workshop possible, or you're one of the artists of the short films, and if you want to say like the name of the short film you made.
Okay, my name is Julen, and my short film is called Incognita, which I don't know very much how to translate to English, incognito, or something that it's unknown, right? And it's a short film about a murder or a homicide that took place in 1979 in a town that is next to San Sebastián, Renteria. A policeman murdered a travestite that was like working in a nightclub. And for me, it's a very powerful story, because my generation is always looking for USA references, and we hardly ever know our own history. We hardly ever know our neighborhoods, people that surrounding us, and probably are more important than some, I don't know, RuPaul, whatever. I know RuPaul is very important, but there's so many people other than RuPaul that we can search about. And for me, it was very shocking that I was like 26 or 27, and that's when I heard this story about a town that is like probably like 15 kilometers away from San Sebastian. And I wondered why I hadn't known this before. And I started looking for this story in newspapers, people who had met this person, people who had lived in that era in that town, and that was like the main thing for me to create this short film, to tell this story that it's so near to us, but also it's so terribly unknown. And it was shocking for me to find out that this travestite called herself Unknown as well. And it was like sort of like magical word for me that resonated, that this person was unknown back then and it's unknown again in a contemporary time, right? So yeah, basically that's what I did, and thank you for watching.
Okay, my name is Imanol, and I made the one called Rico Marico Jack, which can translate as town queers. And it was yeah, I wanted to try and speculate around creating an archive of queer people in the Basque Country that doesn't exist. So I made it with AI.
Well, I continue. My name is Rocio. I made the short film Soy una lesbiana de este país, or I'm a lesbian of this country. And well, the short film was of a photograph that I came across in an archive, and well, then I have this footage of that gave us in the workshop, and well, I tried to figure out who was the main character of this short film that finally I encountered her in Uruguay. So that's it. Thank you for watching.
I can continue if you want. Hello, I'm Matteo. I made Todos los barrios posibles, which could be translated as all the possible neighborhoods. And it was inspired by, after watching the material, the archive material that were very different, like it was a very diverse material. I had the idea of focusing on the space and spatiality and the idea of possible queer space. So yeah, for me it was like an exploration through the space of queer memory and the practice of cruising, which I found like very interesting. The way that some images shot in like clandestinity in the streets could be like somehow strangely referred to cruising practice. And I tried to imagine some connection with an Italian poet called Sandro Penna, whose text is in the image, like some kind of dialogue with this idea of cruising. So this is more or less the ideas behind my film.
Hey, so my name's Evon. My short is called Cuerpos, which means bodies. And as you've seen, this was a short that talked about queer people as bodies existing in places where they shouldn't. But I really wanted to remark the concept of not just running away or looking for an alternative when we face violence, but just like resisting and surviving to all the violence that we feel. And thank you.
Sorry, my name is Mayer Naez, and I made the short film known as Final Prejudice. And I made this short film a little bit about my memories of my childhood in the 2000s. But mostly I did it because often we think of children or of our childhoods as innocent, and we think that there are no prejudices now. But often, even within the queer community or within our past, we find that there are still prejudices within us and within others that we consider open-minded. So I did a little short film about that.
My name is Isaac, or Isaac, as you prefer. I'm part of the coordination team with Alejo and Luiza. And my job with Luiza was to search in the archives, in this institutional archive in Basque Cinematheque, to find some materials. They didn't need to be queer because there are few queer materials, very sadly. But our idea was that in the workplace, the participants could create new narratives, subvert these materials, and queerify them. So we searched for very different kinds of materials, some very politic, other home movies, from very different fonts. And then we had to negotiate the intellectual property and the logistics about this, but I think the most important part was the selection.
Hey, I'm Luiza. Yeah, me with Isaac, we were responsible for doing the research of the archives and doing this coordination of intellectual and author rights. So didn't have so much material, but it was very good that all the participants could do their only work. We were very proud of the films that are very beautiful and have their own way of expressing themselves. And it was a very beautiful space to work with everyone in between 2 weeks. And that's it.
Okay, great. So I really love the idea of bridging the gap between the different generations. And I would like to know how the people react to it, and if your short movies, short films led to the point that generations talk now to each other. So are you, when you are showing the movies, inviting different generations and afterwards talking about it? Are you continuing with the whole project? That's the second question, actually. And then also, you said there was a bit less material at the moment, but I wondered if people came to you and you created in a snowball principle more and more material. Yeah, I think that's three.
Wonderful. Thank
Sorry.
you for the questions. Maybe I start, and if you guys want to join, you're more than welcome. We try to involve this older generation in the process as well. We had like a beautiful fairy godmother that was like a really historical member of a collective in San Sebastián, that once he came like to provide us background and to tell us about their stories. And in the middle of the of the workshop, he gave us like a tour guide around the city to show us like the lost architecture, like all the different queer bars that were not there anymore, and like to show us the way that they lived in this city that changed through the years. So it was important to us to let them join us and to provide a space where they could tell us about their experiences, and we could like keep learning with them. And the screening, and about the screening, there were invited like all the collectives of the San Sebastián and the Basque Country, and lots of them came. It was like super moving because many of them died because it's like an older community, but maybe relatives of them came and they got in touch with us and told them like how moved they were, because maybe the main characters or the protagonists were not here anymore, but we were like paying some type of homage, and it was like important for them. Yes, but I think that maybe some of you guys were working with materials that were like in direct touch with a specific person. For example, Ro, you were like involved with someone of a generation, and Julen, you as well, I can think of. So maybe you can talk about how you approach those people.
Well, in my case, the short film is my approach. I didn't know Andrea, and with the short film, I get in touch with her, and I know her, and also I know, well, I got to talk with people of the community of Uruguay because I put in touch with them, and also, well, we keep in touch nowadays with her, with Andrea, and with her colleagues also of the community LGBT in Uruguay. So it was a good thing to build this bridge, as you said, Alejo, and get to know also all those people, and to chat and to take care also. It was really nice.
And for me, meeting Julen Zabala, which is the guy that I think that Alejo is referring to, it's been my very great pleasure and a great gift. You know, because when you are born queer and when you are a teenager and you are indirectly being told all the time that you're different and nobody's like you, you know that it's probably not true, but you somehow believe that statement, right? And with this workshop here, I think that all of us have been able to get in touch with previous generations that, you know, when you're a kid, your parents tell you that don't talk to strangers. And one of the greatest things in my life have happened when I have talked to strangers, because strangers are not always bad. They are, of course, bad strangers, but not all of them are bad. And Julen Zavala is such a great guy. And after the Memorias Sinvergüenzas workshop and the short film, I still keep in touch with him. Incognita short film, it's going to be showed in Francis al Dia, which is a homage or a part, not a party anymore, but I know once a year in this town called Renteria, which is 15 kilometers from San Sebastian, the place where they murdered her, they pay homage to her and they screen like queer films and they do different types of activities. And this year they're gonna project this film, and of course Julen Zavala is gonna be there. I will be there too, and I think it's a great way to, you know, create bridges. No, that's what Alejo has told us, and I think that's very true. And I mean, we cannot fix all the shit that is around us, but I think that if we share the shit with other people, I think that the shit is more easily handled. I don't know how to say this, but I think that this is all about, right? So yeah, and as well, we have a local TV channel in San Sebastian called Teledonosti, and it's directed by a friend of mine. And we have invited Julen Zavala to a couple of debates to talk about HIV, or I don't know how to say, like in the 80s, there were like so many diseases that killed all of us. And somehow we have kind of forgotten this history. And I think it's very important to talk about it because it's just been like 40 years or 30 years from now. And we have kind of forgotten. So yeah, I think that it's very important to create those bridges.
Yes, and also like about the continuation of the project, we want like to keep building like these bridges between institutions and between filmoteques around Spain. That's where we are all located now. I mean, we are from different parts of the world. I'm from Argentina, Rocio is from Uruguay. There was someone from Mexico as well, Luiza from Portugal, and Matteo from Italy. But we want to keep like doing this workshop and different activities between building these bridges between the different institutions. So yes, we have different plans, and maybe doing another edition in San Sebastian would be great, like to give this possibility of getting in touch with their queer memory to other people as well. And if any of you want to do like this workshop in their own towns and stuff, you can get in touch with us. I mean, the main purpose is like to share the information and to keep like giving voices to this older generation. So feel free to get in touch with any of us and we can like keep discussing whenever you want.
Okay.
Great. Hi, I'm Maya. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us on Zoom. I really enjoyed watching all of your films, and I'm also very preoccupied by getting to know the histories that I am a part of better, and one of those is queer history and queer ancestors and people who have fought before us. And it's just really nice to know, I think especially the film about Francis touched me because it's nice to know that you are a person who grew up in a certain place and then you found someone who was queer before you in that place. That's very, very special. And also all of the other films just, yeah, also recreating stories of people who maybe might not have existed. I think, for example, about Andrea, until the end, I wasn't sure if Andrea really existed or not, but the people that you created in the film were like, I was like, yeah, I mean, somehow they did exist, right? Only maybe not like in that way, but in certain ways they did. So yeah, thank you very much. I found it very inspiring, and it's really always great to know when people do this kind of work and yeah, get to know about people like you. Yeah, so thank you.
It's wonderful how the fiction can also appear, and it's like also a possibility, like to make with these materials and to give a place to create fantasies and to create new characters, paying homage to these people that didn't have a voice and weren't able to go to the streets and live their identity with freedom. It's wonderful, and it's like another part that we are super interested in. Thank you. It's wonderful to hear you guys. Thank you.
I want
Yeah.
to add a
Once,
small bit of information about the Francis case, which is a very sad history. But in the workshop with Julen Zabala, we were doing some research about this tragic event, and there were photographical archives with some photographs and some text, but we didn't have any moving image. So thanks to this research, we could go back to the archive of the Cinematheque Basque and searching in the demonstrations and protests that were only tagged in generic ways, we found a panel with the name of Francis. So they were the first moving image about this protest. And so we could have this, at least this element and these materials for the workshop.
I wanted to say something very little that I just remembered. This demonstration that Isaac is talking about was our Stonewall. I mean, we're always looking for New York, but in the Basque Country, it happened 10 years later. And it's so important, that demonstration. I mean, that murder originated everything. And it's crazy to me, crazy, really crazy, that we have forgotten about that. And it's a town that is like 15 kilometers from San Sebastián. How on earth can we forget that history that originated it's like our Big Bang, you know? Everything happened because of that. So it was very important for me, for the short film, to get those images here so that we never, ever forget again what happened like in the 79, because everything happened then.
thank you so much for coming, guys. We are so happy you shared with us. And maybe we can do it next year again. So everyone here will tell their friends. And I hope you have a great evening. Thank you. I can just agree. Thank you for taking the time. And yes, thank you very much. Maybe we can do one more round of applause.
Thank you, Mila, and all the team of the festival. It was wonderful, like being in touch with you, and we like recommend. No, that's another word. Like we want to share the information. So if anyone wants to get in touch and get to know more about the dynamics of the workshop, feel free to tell us. And also these short films are circulating in different festivals. So if you want like one of the short films to be screened, you can talk with any of the directors to keep them like flowing and stuff. But thank you very much. It was wonderful seeing you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.